Blue Label Telecoms posted results today, and Joint Chief Executives and brothers Blue Label Telecoms, Brett and Mark Levy, join us for a look at their numbers locally. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Just picking up on your revenue numbers, in particular coming from South Africa, those are definitely under pressure. What's causing strain there?
I think if you look at our revenue, you've got to look at the new types of transactions we're doing. So pinless is not accounted for in our revenue. So our true revenue drop was only 1%, not 4%.
Pinless is?
Pinless means just the way we're topping up a phone via the iron platform rather than issuing a pin. Normally when you go and you get a pin, you manually enter it. Pinless, we say what's your phone number entered on the system, and then it tops up via the actual mobile operator directly to your phone. So electricity is done in that manner, so we don't account for those turnovers in our turnover line, and that's why you'll see an increase in our GP margins, because it falls straight to our GP.
That's more important, isn't it? I mean, it's really turnovers you can play with, but it's the money in the bank you can't. You guys coordinated quite well today. You send emails.
Brothers Blue.
Well, I hope it's not showing that you support the Blue Bulls, because they're in trouble.
Oh boy.
I'm Lions.
Okay, Blue Telecoms. But the whole termination rate story, has that affected your business at all?
It hasn't affected our business. I think it's playing out very interestingly in the space. I think we put a little thing in our announcement just to say we're watching this cautiously to see how it does play out. And I guess in the next 6 months we'll see where it ends up. But for now, business as usual hasn't affected us at all.
But the reality is that it has to cut the cost of cell phone calls, which is clearly a big part of your business. Will it affect you? Will it hurt your profit margins?
Look, from our side, if a consumer gets more value for his buck, he generally spends more. So this is the rates that the mobile operators charge one another, not what the consumer is going to pay. Hopefully there's downward pressure and it allows him to pay, instead of saying 99 cents a minute, 89 cents a minute, he gets more value for his money and therefore maybe stimulate spend.
Mark, if you're right, then they're actually wasting their time, because the whole idea of driving down the prices is by reducing the termination rates. That's been Alan Knott Craig's ambition. Do you sell for them, for Cell C?
Sure.
And how have they been doing?
Extremely well, actually.
What kind of volume growth from where you're sitting? Because you see the real numbers.
I think we're a great indication of what they're doing. So just to tell you, as a whole in our business, if you compare to 6 months ago, Vodacom was around 51%. It's now at 50%, so pretty neutral. MTN, interestingly, decreased from 36% down to 32%. And Cell C increased from 12% to 17%. So quite a big increase, and definitely seen it come through, without a doubt.
What about Hater though?
Hater is making up 1%, same as 6 months ago. We are doing as much as we can for them, but from our side at least, seeing it pretty neutral, no growth, no decline, staying exactly where they were 6 months ago.
Fascinating. It's a great story. Yours has always been a great story, but what must be starting to worry shareholders now is what you're doing in Mexico and India. The losses still manageable, but they're growing.
Look, we indicated at our finals last year that we don't anticipate profits in Mexico for the next year. Remember, we're rolling out something that's unique in the world. We're rolling out 123,000 devices. I mean, to put that into context, if you take one of the large banks in South Africa, they've probably got 40 to 50,000 credit card machines out there. So the rollout is quite an expensive rollout. And our view is he who can influence the last mile, because ultimately we're deploying devices in the last mile and we can load product on there. So it's true to our strategy. India, on the other hand, yes, slightly disappointing in terms of we anticipated making more money quickly. But we realized that the margin pressure in telephony came very quick and fast. And we've transitioned our platform to be financial services. So we're seeing domestic transfers. You know, it's a $20 billion industry in Mexico. We're already up in India, we're already up to $30 million a month. That's already a 4 billion rand domestic transfer system for us. So we've managed to evolve our platform. But once again, the reason we're able to do that is we have points of presence already into the market.
Investors are looking at this and saying, okay, could this be another Tencent? Could this be another transformative investment that you're making over there, or is it just going to be incremental? Is India and Mexico are presumably bigger markets for you than South Africa?
Look, we've been consolidating rands into dollars and losses. When that turns, it's going to create a huge difference in our financials. And yes, I think it could be one of those sleeping giants that actually make the world of difference. We've changed communities, we're uplifting communities, teaching these moms and pops that they can survive in tougher times. So yeah, I think it's one of those to watch carefully.
And Mexico, you still bullish on that endeavor? The last time I spoke to you, I think you said everywhere that they sell bread, you're hoping to start distribute airtime as well as electricity there.
So Mexico, very fortunate to have an unbelievable partner there in the company called Grupo Bimbo, who's the biggest bread people in the world. So what it gives us is access to 17,500 trucks a day, literally calling on 750,000 outlets a day. So from our methodology and technology that sits in the background, I know we're making losses, but I can assure you it's well on plan to what we've been budgeting towards. So very excited about
Grupo
Mexico.
Bimbo.
Grupo Bimbo.
No relation to the Bimbos in South Africa.
No.
Not yet.
No. Lovely cash flow, 740 million. What happens to that? What, just unpack it really nicely. That's the cash that you make out of your profits. Where do you put it?
So we've obviously paid dividends every year at a cover between 2 and 4 times earnings. So always looking at around about 150 to 250 million going in dividends. We did announce a really good acquisition that we did towards the end of last year in December.
Yeah, Christmas time. You called everyone by surprise on that one. You can tell us about that in a moment.
Correct. So just competition board to go through, but really just going through the process. So hoping to spend 330 million there. Very big on the acquisition trail, so still looking at it. And of course using our money carefully, or wisely, because leaving it in the bank at 5%, really getting nothing after tax, call it 3.5%. So doing a lot more bulk buying with the networks, doing a lot more stock purchasing, and really using our cash cleverly at the moment.
RMC, tell us about that acquisition.
RMCS, basically it does 2 parts of its business. One is it's got an exclusive contract with the Edcon Group, which gives us a great new distribution channel, gives us a great access to 4.5 million credit customers that really play in our space entirely and will have direct access to them. And secondly, they play in a very big hybrid space, which is actually between the postpaid and the prepaid world. So fitting directly into what we call acquisition trail, which is earnings enhancing. Definitely already. Number 2, distribution, adding on to our distribution. 3, product. So really fitting across the board of everything when we look for an acquisition. So excited about it.
And the brothers are still pals, still getting on.
For now.
But before you go, our executive producer Janine would kill me for this, Alec. So I'll be the good one here. Your expectations for the budget speech coming out next week, from a corporate perspective, what are you hoping will be on Praveen's agenda?
Look, from our side, education is of critical importance. We're looking at in our business that we're battling to find decent skill sets in this country. So I know there's lots of unemployment, but we've got to invest in ourselves to see change. Healthcare for me. So those 2 are ones that really stick out like a sore thumb.
Brett?
From our side, I think there are really a lot of clever ideas of how we can do upliftment. One is government and one is companies. And I think sometimes we're doing it in the wrong places. And if we all really make a concerted effort to really teach people how to fish rather than give them the fish, I think we've got a great chance here.